Welcome to the Copper State Fit podcast, where we help men and women in their 30s, 40s, and 50s transform their bodies, energy, and confidence without extreme diets or endless cardio. You've worked hard to build your career, your family, and your life, but along the way, your health took a backseat. Now it's time to get back what you've lost. Each episode, we'll cut through the noise and bring you real-world strategies in nutrition, training, and mindset to help you drop body fat, boost energy, and perform at your best without giving up carbs, fun, or your social life. I'm your host, Adam Petropoulos, head coach and founder of Copper State Fit. Let's redefine what's possible, one episode at a time. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Copper State Fit podcast. I'm your head coach and founder, Adam Petropoulos, and today I'm going to be doing a solo cast, just me, myself, and I, about a lesson that I learned over the years as a nutrition coach. How many times have you guys heard somebody say, or maybe even caught yourself saying that, I know what to do, I just need to do it? I can't tell you how many times I hear clients say that. And it makes sense, right? It sounds like, hey, I just need to buck up, have better willpower, get my butt in gear, do better. But the reality is that health and fitness, fat loss, gaining muscle, dropping body fat, improving metabolic markers, anything related to your health and fitness is a skill. And it's not just you lack the willpower, because you probably do know what to do, but you don't know how. Okay. And so today we're going to talk about the real reasons you're stuck and what to do about it. Let me start off with a story. So in my early 20s, I worked as a personal trainer in the gym, and I had two clients, really, really good dudes, Mark and Greg. If you guys are out there listening, miss you, love you, hope you're doing well. But Mark and Greg had a goal. They wanted to get lean for summer. Their training was consistent, obviously. We were working out, I think at the time, 2 or 3 days per week. But like most people, they would leave the gym and the nutrition went to shit. And so they needed some motivation. So here's what they proposed. They told me they wanted to do a 6-week transformation challenge, and the loser buys steak dinner. Here's the catch. It was them versus me. I mean, I thought originally going into it when they told me about this that it was going to be them versus them, so Mark versus Greg, but they wanted to compete against me. They needed some skin in the game. They wanted to raise the stakes, and I took the bet. So at the time, in my 20s, I believed, as they probably did as well, and many of my clients do, that willpower wins, right? Like the more willpower somebody has, the more motivation they have, the better the results are going to be. And that's not always the case. And this was a prime example. So if we can jump ahead and guess to what happened, I won the bet. They took my wife and I, Renee, out to an amazing steak dinner at Mastro's. If you live here in the Valley, you know what that is like. Great experience. But as I look back upon that, I almost feel guilty because Mark and Greg were never going to win, because fat loss is not a motivation issue. It's not even a discipline issue. It's a skill. Okay. Fat loss is a skill. And so there was a skill gap that they had. And, they were on an amazing plan. Obviously, I helped them with their nutrition. Here's what to shop for, here's what to prep, here's calories, macros, et cetera, et cetera. They had a great plan. I had a great plan, but the difference was execution. I mean, I had the skills. I'd been an athlete my whole life. I had competed in physique shows, bodybuilding, and leaned out many times over and over and over again. So I knew what to do. I knew how to manage cravings, hunger, boredom, check in on myself, whether it was just emotional eating. I knew how to set up my environment for success. And so I want to walk you through what the steps are to developing a skill like fat loss so that you know how to close that gap and it's no longer a problem. So here are the 5 steps to building a skill. So first and foremost is knowledge. I think that's where most of us think this all ends of, I just need to know what to do, right? And so we read, articles, we watch YouTube videos, we purchase books. That's like getting the playbook from an NFL team and saying, I know how to win a game, an NFL game. Like, it couldn't be further from the truth. Like, knowing what to do and knowing how to do it are not one and the same. So the first thing is acquiring the knowledge. It might feel good because it might feel like you're moving forward, but really you haven't done anything. The second thing is awareness. And when it comes to fat loss, this is where tracking your food comes in, because tracking is visibility, and visibility gives you control. Okay. You can't change what you don't see. I mean, imagine trying to get better at free throws. You first learn how because you acquire the knowledge. Maybe you watch a YouTube video on somebody shooting free throws, or you read a quick blog post, or download an ebook on how to shoot free throws. Step one. Step two, awareness. Cool. Well, now you're shooting free throws, but you're doing it with your eyes closed or in a gym that has the lights off. Like, you don't know where the ball's going. Is it going in the hoop? How much further do you need to shoot the ball? Are you coming up short? How high, etc.? And that's where tracking comes in, is awareness, so that you know what you're doing. Okay. The third step is repetition. It's the boring part, guys, but necessary. Like, this builds competence and confidence. Skills come from doing things over and over again. And to be honest with you, in the beginning, doing them terribly. Like, you're going to screw up. You're going to mess up. I have a lot of clients that are afraid to, try new recipes or meal plan or things like that, because they're trying to do the perfect thing the first time through, and it never works out that way. So back to the basketball analogy, like, if you're going to get good at shooting free throws, you can't just watch a video, read an ebook. You have to have the lights on and your eyes open so you're aware. But third, you have to do it hundreds of times, thousands of times, to actually get good at it and make adjustments. The fourth thing is adaptability. So this is where a lot of people get stuck. And this is, to be honest with you, I think where a lot of people get to the place where they literally say and quote the phrase of, I know what to do, I just need to do it. And this is where the biggest skill gap comes in, is when life happens. So again, I said level 4 or step 4 is adaptability. Like, what happens during travel, vacations, stress, life changes? Just had a client who mentioned to me that she was told that her job's going to be going away, right? Like, that's a huge life stress, right? So what happens in those situations? What about when you get busy? When you've got those busy weeknights, when you've got to take the kids to soccer practice or, violin lessons or what have you, right? What about dining out? Obviously we probably should eat the majority of our foods from home, but it's a great part of an incredible social experience with wife, loved ones, husband, partner, family, friends. Dining out is a part of life. So what do? And this is, like I said, where most people fall apart, because they might get good at doing it in a controlled environment, tracking their food, weighing the food with a food scale, knowing what to eat, knowing the difference, the knowledge between proteins, carbs, fats, how many calories they need, all that. But then life happens and they get thrown a curveball. One of the best NFL coaches, probably the greatest of all time, will go down as Bill Belichick. He was known as the best situational football coach. Here's what I mean. So instead of just teaching his players, like, here's the play, this guy's going to block here, this guy's going to block there, quarterback's going to hand it off to this guy, and we're going to run to the right. He would coach situations being, okay, it's third down and we have 9 yards to go and we have 2 timeouts and it's beginning to rain right now. And so, I mean, you get the point. He would literally lay out these situations in practice so that his players were prepared in those situations. And this is where adaptability comes in at number 4. Number 5 is identity. This is a huge one. One of my favorite books on transformation and change is Atomic Habits by James Clear. And what he says in there, he gives the example of a gal that lost 100 plus pounds. And in the book, he's given the example of identity shift. And with this gal, what she did was when she was faced with certain scenarios and maybe didn't know exactly what to do, she would ask herself what her future self would do, like that fit person, that new identity that she was trying to take on. Not, oh my gosh, what do I do? It was, what would XYZ fit person do? Okay. So instead of going from trying to do X, Y, and Z, you just set the standards of this is who I am and what I do. Okay. Another incredible analogy here is in that same book, Atomic Habits, there's two people offered a cigarette. Both of these people are former smokers trying to quit. But person number one says, no thanks, I'm not a smoker. Person number two says, no thanks, I'm trying to quit. You could tell the difference in both of those answers. The first person says, no thanks, I'm not a smoker, no longer identifies themselves as a smoker. They're the person who doesn't smoke, versus the other person still identifies as the smoker, right? And so who do you think is going to have the harder time getting where they want to go and quitting? So with that being said, identity is thinking about who you want to become and acting in accord with who that person is, and not waiting to become that person, but doing it now. So let's recap. Okay. I know what to do, but I just need to do it. Yeah, you probably do. But like we said, you know what to do. You don't know how. You have not built the skills yet. Think back to Mark and Greg versus me. Same plan, different skill level. More repetition is better results. So here's what I want you to do. All right. Number one, ask yourself, is this an awareness problem? Is this a knowledge problem? A skill problem? Have I not done enough reps yet? Shrink it down. Okay. Find out where your skill gap is and focus on that one part. If it's, I don't know what to do, maybe you do need to read a little bit more about how to do it. But if you're saying I know what to do, then more than likely it's an awareness issue. So you need to look at your surroundings, maybe environment, etc. Maybe it's, okay, I know what to do, but I haven't had enough repetition. Maybe I'm quitting too soon when it gets hard, when it gets messy. So I want you to pick one thing you're not doing. Okay. I want you to shrink it down. I want you to get one win. Okay. Make it small, make it easy. And the takeaway here is momentum builds motivation, not the other way around. Okay. So don't wait on motivation. Start now, start messy, get better, adapt, adjust, rinse and repeat. Okay. If you like this, you like the story about Mark and Greg, you liked this learning a little bit more about the skill gap when it comes to fat loss, when it comes to health and fitness, send me a message on Instagram at Copper State Fit and let me know what you thought of this episode. Till next time, have a great day. Thanks for tuning in to the Copper State Fit podcast. I'm your host, Coach Adam Petropoulos. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to follow, share, and leave a review. You can also connect with me on Instagram at Copper State Fit. I'd love to hear your biggest takeaways from today's show. Until next time, keep showing up, keep doing the work, and keep living in a state of fit.